Jorge, come on, I've arrived.
We have arrived. You've got a beautiful Santa cap on. Secret Sonia, are we on YouTube?
Yes.
Woo, we're on YouTube, so you can see we all have our little hats. I put mine on, but mine's kind of tough with my headphones, so we'll keep trying. We have Ms. the Divine Dion. She's doing on Facebook. And we're getting ready. I don't know if you know this, George, since you just got here, but Julian is now going to be able to allow us to take phone calls. We're so excited about that.
Oh, it works?
We may have to get that tested out tonight. Maybe during the break we can
This bad boy right here, George.
All right.
We're going all 21st century. Right on. That's good. So George, we're excited. We want to remember to tell our listeners and followers that we'll be at Rosita's right after the show.
Yeah, we're going to be at Rosita's taping a show after the show, chilling after the show, it's called. And it's like an hour worth of broadcasts without commercials. And, this one big commercial is Rosita's.
Yeah.
But it's going to be nice. So we're going to be drinking margaritas and just kicking back and talking to hopefully the owners if they pass by. Last week one of the owners was there and the son.
And you can still go back and listen to that interview. That was pretty fun.
And then this week we're going to just be just chilling after the show over there, interviewing people and just having fun talking about this show and Rosita's and the audience there.
So join us there. It's going to be the Tempe location, which is a university party, and we're usually back in the lounge area. We hope you can make it. Hey, I just got something handed by Julian that you'll be very interested, George. Drudge Report. Des Moines Register poll. Cruz, 31%. Trump, 21%. Carson, 13%. Rubio, 10%. That's Des Moines.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's not true? They're lying to you?
Yep. Well, it's an opinion of just.
No, this is a poll.
Yeah, it's in a poll, and it's made. Trump is still leading in the polls. Believe me.
But George,
all polls are opinions.
This is Iowa. This is right before the caucuses.
Right.
And it's the Des Moines Register.
Exactly. He'll still
Are
take
you in
Iowa.
denial?
You think? I think.
Okay, so you think Trump will still take Iowa? Really? I don't know. Iowa's pretty conservative.
Not only that,
Mark my words.
that I don't know, George.
I mean, I'm not committed to, even though I will be seeing him on Wednesday, but I'm not committed to Trump at this time, or I'm following Jeb. I'm hoping.
Jeb?
Jeb Bush. I hope he gets it.
Oh, really? He's still kind of your guy, but he's not even in the poll. He didn't even.
I don't even know why he's still.
five.
He's not even. I don't even know why he's still in the race.
No, he's in the race. He's like 3%.
Did you see him? In fact,
Wait. I'm sorry, George. In Iowa, 31%.
Yes.
For the highest. Never mind who it is. 31%.
Yes.
3%.
Yes. He's him and Cruz. No, him and Rubio are the handpicked.
Oh, that's why you're depending on the Republican establishment. Is that what it is?
Well, I'm going by what the Republican establishment has already decided.
Didn't I just say that?
Yeah.
Did I just say that?
Yeah.
Okay, then why do you say no?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, you're not hearing me correctly. Hey, incidentally, Trump will be in town, and you're going to go see him, aren't you?
Yeah, I already got tickets.
You got tickets. You paid a big price for those.
Oh yeah.
You saw him when he was
money.
here
Big money.
before, and we thought that he really wasn't that interested in Arizona. Remember?
Yeah, he said he wasn't. Well, not him, but his campaign manager said that they weren't interested in Arizona as to set up an office and stuff. But they're back, and he's ahead in the polls. So.
Well, I'm 90% Cruz. I'm a Cruz girl. I think you're Cruz also, aren't you?
Cruz
Yes.
is going to be the vice presidential nominee.
So you think it's going to be Trump Cruz?
Yes.
And that's what Tom Morrissey said last
Yep.
night. Tom Morrissey, who is the former AZGOP chairman of Arizona.
And Carson's going to be Secretary of Health.
That'd be great.
I can
And,
see that.
That'd be great.
And Palin is going to be Secretary of Interior.
Oh, that would be good. That would be bad.
Well, the only way that happens is if Cruz is top of the ticket.
No.
Because
Well,
because
if he's
no one
second.
because I don't believe Trump is going to infiltrate and put in all these conservatives.
Yeah, he is.
I don't believe he's going to do that.
I think he.
You think he will?
Yeah, he's a businessman. He puts the people that get the job done.
Oh, he'll put people to get the job done, but I don't know if he's going to put in conservatives to get the job done.
Well, and there's going to be a few independents and stuff.
Boy, he's very confident tonight, isn't he, Julie?
He sure
No,
is.
we need to make sure we're recording the show, right?
Yes, we are.
Because we're going to come back in a few
Make sure,
months and see what happened.
Yeah.
Well,
I say by February, you'll already know that this is what the trend is.
when did you say
By February. January, February.
It seems to me months ago when we were all in it for Trump, I was saying, well, I think about February that's going to happen. But maybe you said that, I didn't hear you.
No, I didn't say that. I just said I was for Trump. But then I switched to Jeb Bush. But
Okay, so now you're Bush, right?
well, I've been with Jeb Bush since I met him and shook his hand and felt the vibe.
He's your guy now.
Right now, as a chairman of a district, I have to kind of be undecisive in my choice of candidates. Even though I already committed to Jeb Bush online, but
did you sign in blood that paper?
I think so.
What is it, skull and crossbones?
Something like that.
I think it was some kind of form.
Well, that vibe must have got you then, huh?
But
are you leaning like the Puerto Ricans for Bush?
But I think no, actually, it's a Latino for Bush. But I think I can safely say right now I'm uncommitted. But I'm leaning toward Bush if he just gets up off the floor.
If you had to vote today, if I had to vote today, I would vote for Ted Cruz. If you had to vote today.
Wow, that's a tough one. Trump is probably head in the polls. I would say.
Vote for Trump?
I would say Trump, unless he puts his foot in his mouth some more. He's doing pretty good about that.
The question is, if you had to vote today.
I don't know.
Leon, who would you vote for? Are you going to tell us? Oh.
I don't know.
You don't know? Sonia? And Mr. Julian.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, Ted Cruz. And I'll tell you why we need Ted Cruz in office. Because when that next big attack comes, we not only need a constitutional president, but we need that strong, foundational, spiritual president who's not afraid to say and to pray for this country. Because this is...
And if those two topics are what you go by, then you would vote for Ben Carson.
No, because Ben Carson...
He's strictly constitutional, and he's very religious.
Yeah, but he's not that constitutional.
Oh, he is.
I think
and his foreign policy is very weak, and that's where I'm going after, is that foreign policy with that. Because
foreign policy.
Well, it's the thing with these attacks on our country. It's the foreign policy, because you got these people coming in and attacking us, and they're already here, and so never mind. To me, the foreign policy is what is bringing. The foreign policy is basically coming to our shores, basically.
I love Ben Carson, but I would have to say that Ted Cruz, who was like the Attorney General of Texas, he is very strong in the Constitution. Plus, I don't think anyone can out-debate him.
No.
And the added bonus, I like Ben Carson. And
he's a little half and half.
Economy, but he does also have the political experience because he has been in the Senate, and he still is not of the party elite. There's a lot of bonuses there.
Total anti-establishment.
Bottom line, whatever Republican is the nominee, I will not support Hillary Clinton. I will help the Republican.
The same thing with me.
Yeah.
What about third party, though? Do you think Trump might go third party?
Oh, I really don't want to see that.
I know.
Yeah, because that's Hillary Clinton, President of the United States.
Yeah.
That puts her in. You may as well put her in.
Perot from before. Man, it gets you a little nervous, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping.
If he does go third party suddenly like that, to me, that may have been the plan all along, and I think he would be in a way complicit in getting her in. I think if he wants to be president, If he truly wants to be president, he will not go third party. Because going third party, it's Clinton all the way. She's going in no matter what. You're splitting up too much.
I lose respect for him for someone who said they were a Republican. Now, granted, I can say that now. But things change. I don't know. But what are we going to do? I know what I'm going to do. We're going to have to go to another break. We'll be back for our third segment of the Chips and Salsa show here on Central City Radio.
Has this show going quick?
It's moving and grooving. I'm Alice Lotta here with
Jorge Alarcón.
Julian's helping us out on the mic. Don't go away. You're barely making that. All right. I hope those guys make it.
But Des Moines Register, that's my hometown.
Oh, it is.
So I got my attention already. I was like, Des Moines, it's all Ted Cruz on top.
That was a good segment. It was. Who is who?
I did hear it too. I heard a voice.
Oh, your voice is over.
Oh, good voice. But yeah, Ted Cruz is doing what Big Barry did in LA. Doing the same kind of grassroots kind of. All right, let me stop.
I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to start talking about the introducing George.
All right, stand by. All right, mics are up.
And welcome back to more of the Chips and Salsa show. I'm Alice Lotta, one of your hosts here with
Jorge.
Wonderful. It's great to be here every Saturday night at 6 p.m. And we're getting ready, and just forgive us a little bit. We're going to be Eric Cantor. And I actually got to listen to them on the James T. Harris show, and I thought, man, I wish we could get him for our show. And thank goodness James T. gave me Karen Schudy's phone number, and here you are. And before I introduce you guys, I'm going to say a little bit about the primary defeat of House Majority Leader Eric Cantor on June 10th, 2014 was the most stunning upset in modern political history. Yes, it was, in my lifetime at least. Shown by his own polling to be leading by 34 points in the Virginia district he'd represented 14 years, outspending little-known primary opponent Dave Bratt 40-1. I like the fact that his last name is Bratt. So that's good. Cantor, widely presumed to be the next speaker, was crushed by 11 points. The architects of that remarkable, against all odds victory were 23-year-old Zach Worrell,
Like a whirlpool.
and 24-year-old Gray Delaney. In How to Bag a Rhino, they reveal in detail how it was achieved and why it is a model for similar insurgent GOP campaigns across America as grassroots Republicans fight America. So, welcome, first of all. Thank you in a whirlwind coming in to this show. We really appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having us. We're sorry we're a little late here, but glad to be here, and thank you for what you all are doing, spreading the message.
Oh, certainly. So it's Zach and Gray, right?
Right.
Okay, we have it right. And this is George over here. And just
Hello.
to let you know,
How are
we have
you?
Sonia, who brought you in, and we have Miss Dion on Facebook there. And this is the owner of the station right here. This is Julie and Allison. So I want to begin. I want to tell first of all, this is an online show. So our audience is much younger than the hosts here. So they don't follow politics. And that's one of the reasons we do the show here as well, because we want to give them some exposure to politics. You guys are young. You're what, in your 20s, right?
24, 26 now.
So
Oh,
first
man.
of all,
Wow, you're old.
Oh, you're old.
Wow. Time passes quickly.
I would like you first, before you even get started about your whole story, to kind of address the young audience out there and tell them why is it important to pay attention to politics and why maybe they should take this interview seriously.
It's important to follow politics because right now, as you're listening to this broadcast, there are people in Congress stealing from you, not only at the moment, but in the future. For the next 40 years of your life, you're being stolen from, and after you have grandchildren, are retired, you are being stolen from. There are people reaching into your pockets right now, taking your money, your livelihood from you. So you better wake up and get involved, because otherwise there's nobody who's going to advocate for you except for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell right there. When you choose not to pay attention, it's human nature to be corrupt and to take advantage of what you can take advantage of. And that's what's happening in Congress on a daily basis. They're getting richer. They're playing by their own set of rules, and they're taking advantage of a populace that's not paying attention. And so we have to start paying attention. And as far as our generation, we're paying into Social Security, we're paying into Medicare, and we're not going to get those programs. And so, having most people don't realize what a $20 trillion debt means, and we're going to start feeling the effects of those real soon. As soon as interest rates start going up, and we're going to be paying 15, 20% of all federal outlays just on interest payments on our debt, you're going to see a country that looks a whole lot different, and people are going to start getting desperate. And so the time is short, and what we saw with Eric Cantor and how corrupt he was, and for him it was all about power and money, and it's the same thing with John McCain here. And with a lot of the congressmen around the country, there's certainly some good ones. You have some good ones in Arizona, but they need more allies, and that's what we're fighting for.
Oh, I thought you would say something, George. Okay. I would like you to give a short little synopsis background. We have a few minutes of how you actually came into politics at a young age, and why you did this, why you actually got interested in even politics at all.
So I got involved. This is Zach. I got involved because I wanted to be involved in policy because I knew the country was headed in the wrong direction. I got an economics degree, and I did not want to take out a $250,000 mortgage and not have a house on the other side. So I got involved in politics instead of policy, and found that the fastest way to change the policy is to change the politicians. So I got involved in campaign work, and that's how I ended up on my first race, Dave Rat race, all of the other ones, and how I'm now sitting here in the studio.
Well, my interest started a little earlier than that. I started working the polls back in middle school, where George Bush's George Bush's re-election. And my friends would always make fun of me because while they were down playing video games, I'd be up discussing political issues with the parents. And so, long story short, I ended up interning for Eric Cantor in college my junior year, and he doesn't come by and shake our hands once. A total disregard for the constituents. We have.
Wait a minute. So you're like one young person among probably very few young people, and he doesn't even go to acknowledge you.
There's about 12 of us, and he does not even, the entire 6 weeks we're there, come out and acknowledge any of us. And then just the disregard for the constituents that I saw when I was there was astounding, and how the legislative assistants that weren't there because they earned it, but were there because their parents were friends with Cantor. They went to Cantor school, prep school, and so it was just basically almost nepotism. And
how were you selected and able to?
Oh, my friend. Yeah. And who was not happy with me, and we did not speak anymore. It was a very close family friend, and we'd known each other for 20 years. And when I turned against Cantor and decided to take the job to work against him, that was the end of our friendship. So it just shows you that money can even override long-standing friendships. But when you stand on principle in life, you're rewarded in the end. And there's so many people. If you go to the John McCain rally, you'll see all the college students there with John McCain shirts. You ask them why they're for John McCain. They have no reason to be for him, but they think that it's their way up the political ladder, and that's not how you get somewhere in life.
Wow. What was the first thing that clued you in, and you said, "Man, I can't do this anymore"?
With Cantor?
Yeah.
Well, it started in the district with his support for the TARP, the big bank bailouts, and his wife had worked for Goldman Sachs, and he was very chummy with the Wall Street community. And then the smoking gun with Eric Cantor, everyone go look this up on your computer. No one will believe it unless they look it up. It's called the Stock Act. The Stop Trading of Congressional Knowledge. It was legal for congressmen to inside trade. Say there was an appropriations bill. The government was going to buy 500,000 BlackBerries. They could legally buy BlackBerry stock on that knowledge. 60 Minutes as an expose. They expose it.
All that, so.
Come on over to rover.com. Right now, take your dog first night free.
Ooh, that'd be great, actually.
$25 value.
So have you had success? How have you marketed the show to get an audience for internet?
Primarily online so far. We have more than one station. The idea is to build multi-channel, multi-market station, build a big network. So I've got basically each computer is a station. So one here, one there, all in one app. And so I've just been marketing the app, primarily mirroring iHeart, because they changed their name from their app, the whole company from Clear Channel to iHeart, based on the success of their app. So wow, well, I may as well do the same thing.
He has another show, and it's too bad that Myron can't be here. Wherever Myron Jackson is actually.
He's supposed to be on next, and yeah, he's not gonna be able to make it in tonight. But yeah,
He's a black gentleman who is so awesome. He knows a true black history. He comes on right after us. So the idea that we're trying to do is get more conservatives to get these shows because we podcast them and put them on Facebook, and it's an inexpensive way for us to do it. That's how we started it. So we've been on here over a year, and we have our other show on Friday nights. That's the one that's right.
This is 24/7. I mean, what happens when there's no content? Like when the next hour he doesn't
music.
come?
Music is still the same. Yeah, we run 24/7 music.
What kind of music?
Right now we're doing a rhythmic format on this channel. Basically, it's called Vibe 95. That one over there is King FM, Christian inspirational station. We're gonna move chips and salsa to that station.
And the guests are
Yeah,
Ray
gentlemen,
Delaney and Zach.
tell me about your book, How to Bag a Rhino.
Well,
And this is how you brought down Eric Cantor. The premise behind bagging a rhino is Republican name and name only, right? Is that the premise behind Eric Cantor, or is the book about all rhinos in Congress? Does it go to explain what a rhino is in Congress, and does it or he just talks about Cantor?
okay. So basically, the first few chapters of the book go into the duplicity enemy needs to be the Democrats. Well, that's just a smokescreen. And so when you read this book and you read the first few chapters, you'll realize why this is really, in our opinion, a battle of good versus evil, and why we don't like Paul Ryan, for instance, because the media tells everyone, oh, Paul Ryan's such a good conservative, yada yada yada. Why can't you, if you guys aren't happy with Paul Ryan, who are you ever going to be happy with? So anyway, but then the rest of the book is kind of the story of the campaign, where we're trying to pass along some of the lessons we learned. Almost every single race we've had against the rhinos in the last few years, we've lost. Lamar Alexander in Tennessee, Lindsey Graham in South Carolina, Pat Roberts in Kansas. So we're trying to pass along some of the lessons, and we think that we have a formula that can be replicated. And of course, it's all dependent upon the local grassroots and a lot of factors, but there are definitely some things in the book that we learned that can be helpful.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I describe it as a narrative how-to, meaning we give you how-to lessons as we tell the story. So we illustrate, some of the chapters are sort of the lesson that we want to be.
It's like a 101 course.
Sure, yeah. So, turning the tables on Alinsky is one of the chapters, and it's about how we turned Saul Alinsky, a Democrat, progressive Marxist, for good against a bad Republican. So, there's these little lessons throughout the book that you can use.
What I don't understand is what some conservatives do. They put a whole block of conservative politicians in a block and say these are all rhinos, where some of them vote because of their constituency tells them that that's the way they should vote. So they might vote against a certain bill, but to label that person a rhino, which they have, just makes the party look bad.
Yeah. So
and I don't know if that's why I was trying to get from you if what you're saying is all these people are rhinos and we can't vote for them, they voted against us, or you're saying there's certain politicians that are real that never go with the conservative values. Then I understand that, because they've said McCain is a rhino. Now McCain has voted on the other side many times. Okay, but there's
You're
other.
asking them, tell us what a rhino is? Is that what you're asking?
What their definition of a true rhino is, because I mean there's our rhinos that are really considered, they never vote with the conservative party.
Yeah.
But there's those that do, but sometimes they don't vote on certain issues. in those certain issues is because their constituents have told them that they wanted them
Right,
to
so
vote a
let's let
certain
them
way.
answer the question.
Yeah, so
Great.
let me start by saying not all moderates are rhinos, and not all rhinos are moderates. So it's not really sort of where they necessarily fall on the spectrum, at least the way I view it. It has more to do with their comfort level with being sucked up into the fashionable dinner parties and giving up on principle because it's inconvenient or unfashionable or gets them, cast down upon in Washington, D.C. Now, Gray might have a slightly different tack than I do, but
Yeah, to my term, I don't agree with the term moderate. I think moderate means crony or corrupt. And all we're asking is for our congressmen and our representatives to put America first in every bill that they vote for. Put America first. So the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement, when McCain voted for the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement, a lot of congressmen did, they are selling out American sovereignty. And what I like to point to is if everyone reads the book Extortion by Peter Schweitzer, Peter Schweitzer is the same one that wrote Clinton Cash. He talked about a toll booth. And every single bill in Congress, it sits in what they call a toll booth. And they shake down the affected parties and do not advance the bill to the floor until they shake down the parties and the money pours into the leadership PACs and then the money goes to the House floor. So if you look at simple bills like cell phone unlocking, here's another bill that the Democrats they always talk about the corporate jet loophole and ethanol. So there's a bill called H.R. 5771. It talks about all the tax deductions, Wall Street, ethanol, racetrack, every single thing that big business and well-connected donors, they can afford to get their little thing in there, but the average voter can't. And that bill passed 348 to 46. And so it's most Democrats. So the message we're trying to get across and what we've discovered is that it's really a one-party system in Washington. And McCain and all these guys are going along with it. So why is the Freedom Caucus such a threat? Because they're a threat to the status quo. And until we can get that message across to the American people, we're going to continue to have the same problems we're having. And we're headed towards a $20 trillion debt. We have fully funded Obamacare. So our point is, what do Republicans stand for? If we don't know what they stand for, then how do they message? And how are Republicans going to continue to win elections if they're for the Import-Export Bank, if they're for the National Flood Insurance Program? Well, those aren't free market programs; those are government programs. So, it's tough for the American people to know what our message is if we don't stand on principle.
Gray, would you explain Freedom Caucus?
It's a group of about 40 conservative members in the House.
Truly conservative?
Yeah, they've been a real thorn in the side of the Republican leadership.
Do we have some here from Arizona?
Yeah, you have Matt Salmon, Trent Franks, Schweiker.
most of Arizona's delegate. Arizona has a very good congressional delegation. Most of them are
really good. Yeah, you guys have some great representatives here in Arizona,
except for McCain.
So.
How about Senator Flake?
He's not so great.
Yeah, we've heard bad things. We haven't really researched him because he's not up. The way the cycle works, the Congress is very easy to keep tabs on because they're up every 2 years, but the Senate, because only a third are up, it's much harder to. So Flake, you're on notice. We're going to see if you're a rhino. Get your act together before you're up.
Yeah. So.
Well, there's a big concern too. My thing about Senator McCain, there are 3 other people running against him. Kelly Ward seems to be the front runner. Van even register finally? Georgia?
Yes.
And we also have Muskie.
I heard there was another one.
Eisner. I haven't even heard of him.
Pfizer.
Is that up here?
I don't know if he's on the ticket, but he's supposed to be running.
I mean, I'm very concerned because he might still get in there. But you guys went against all odds. I live in a district, it's predominantly Latino, predominantly Democrat. It's just about impossible to get in elected once you have bags of money. But you all did it with like over 300,000 or 400,000.
Just under 300, or just under 400.
That's amazing. What's the main reason that you were able to do it?
Well, so the book sort of goes into some of the main lessons. The first one, a lot of people learn the wrong lesson from our race. They think that it means that money doesn't matter. That's not true. What the lesson should be is it's not about having a lot of money. It's about having enough money, right? There's a distinction there, a lot versus enough. The other lesson is that if you have an effective, trained grassroots army, you can defeat money if you have sufficient numbers of volunteers and manpower, because manpower is something that cannot simply be bought. Passion and enthusiasm, there's no way to write a check to get passion and enthusiasm out of the grassroots. So, those are two big things that you can learn. Other lessons are being right is not sufficient to win. Being right on the issues does not mean that you will win. Having God on your side does not mean that you will win.
Zach, tie that in quickly into what Alice was saying about multiple candidates and how in our race, because that's a good lesson.
Yeah, so it's not always true, but we were very fortunate because we didn't have a move, we had one target where we could focus all the firepower on. And that helped us tremendously. It doesn't always mean that if you have more than one candidate, you can't win, but having one candidate makes it a much easier race. It makes the math much easier.
There was another candidate in the race, and he clearly was, Dave Brad was clearly the most qualified candidate and had all the support, but he was still in the race up until the filing deadline. The grassroots put a lot of pressure on him to drop out, and it made it exponentially easier to have one candidate go against Brad. It didn't muddy the waters, and so our hope is in Arizona that you guys, through some sort of a process, can get only one candidate to run against McCain, because that's how the establishment holds on. Like Lindsey Graham, all these races, there's 5 or 6 candidates.
And that's going to be hard to do.
Yep.
We just need these guys for like 2 or 3
Van
hours.
isn't going to drop off, and neither is Crusty. He's not going to drop.
Well, stay tuned. We got one more segment
And they're
left
splitting the vote up.
with the authors of How to Bag a Rhino here on Chips and Salsa Show.
So what's Claire's last name?
It's Van Claire, right?
Yeah.
And Claire Steen with You know what? A lot of stuff he says is very conservative. It's just he's not
Traction, no
a
traction. So, I mean, the way the numbers work out, you could realistically in this race, McCain hanging on 35 to 40%. If one of the other two main candidates is between 15 and 20, there's room for another 40%, where it's mano y mano for the 80% of the vote.
I think what's going to happen is McCain's going to come above them only because of his numbers, his popularity, and just like the rally he had today. I missed it, but I was going to be there, and he had Romney showing up to back him up. He's picking the right battle, or how to, when he shows up. I went to his grand opening, and when he opened his office, and I was surprised at the many Latinos that were there, and the people from different organizations.
last meeting last year.
They filled up that whole campaign office, and you would have said, this guy, everybody wants him to win. But then you go to a Kelly rally and you see the same thing, but McCain has an apparatus. He even had a movie film crew with a professional film camera that goes everywhere he goes and makes it look like the media is there, and it's just this crew that follows him around. I mean, they had other reporters and stuff there too.
1 minute.
But this man has an apparatus you wouldn't believe. When I saw that, and everywhere he goes,
Is it true that he spent $30 million against J.D. Hayward 6 years ago?
Oh, yeah, I keep hearing that figure.
He's a lot. That is a lot of money. I don't know what
He spent a lot of money, and JD was very well liked.
Yeah, that's
What was the final result of that race?
You got smoked.
Bad. Real bad.
35%.
And the people hear McCain in the news, and it's like he's saying what they want to hear, and the news media is picking up on him and interviewing him like if he's the only candidate. You don't see Kelly Ward in the news media like the way you see McCain.
Right, 15
McCain comes
seconds.
from Washington. McCain comes from Washington. McCain is in Washington and makes statements like the senior.
All right, George, 5 seconds. Stand by.
You don't stay in office forever if you're not skilled.
Wanna bring him?
All right, mic's open. Stand by.
Welcome back to the Chips and Salsa Show. This is your host, Jorge, Don Jorge, and with my co-host, Alice Lara, and our
Hola.
two guests. I want to start with
Gray Delaney.
Yes.
Zach Winlow.
Zach and Gray, they're part of our family already, so I don't want to mention their last name.
They're
And,
honorary Latinos
and
tonight.
they're the authors of How to Bag a Rhino and how they brought down House Majority Leader Eric Cantor. And we've been asking them questions back and forth about what a rhino is, and a rhino, the definition is a republic in name only, and there's some give and take about the use of the name rhino in the Republican Party. But these gentlemen are steadfast on what they believe, and we're going to just keep this interview going.
Yeah, Gray's a little more liberal in the use of his term rhino. I'm a little more conservative.
I have a wide brush.
What other rhinos nationally, just because I have you here, I know we just have a few minutes left. What other rhinos would you say we need to identify and get rid of out there nationally?
Well, if you go to howtobagorhino.com, R-I-N-O, howtobagorhino.com, we have what's called the Cantor list, and it's a list of the most unconservative candidates in the most conservative districts. So those are people that are in very, very conservative districts who don't vote
Now plus
conservatively.
30 districts.
Right. And then I'm working on a few races myself. Senator John Bozeman in Arizona, we're trying to take out. Arkansas. Roscoe in Illinois, I've got a candidate against, and then I had the candidate was running against John Boehner. Boehner obviously resigned, so now we're trying to fill his seat. Was a conservative.
Now you have your own business now, right? What do you do?
I have Six Semper strategies, so that's derived from Six Semper Tyrannis, which means thus always the tyrants. Virginia motto. Gray?
Yeah, so I'm going to be managing a congressional campaign. There's a couple different opportunities in Virginia to take out. Every single member of Virginia delegation is against Dave Bratt, so we have to get Dave Bratt more allies in Virginia, and so that's what I'll be up to. Because I think the biggest impact that we can make right now is presidential campaigns are massive apparatuses, and I don't think it matters who the president is unless we have a conservative Congress, and so we have to add to the ranks of the conservative. And I know that Zach and I, or one person, a really good campaign manager, can make a huge difference in electing, defeating a incumbent congressman, and so that's what I'll be up to this cycle.
I just want to tell you real quick. Last year, I went to the Arizona ASU Republicans, and I was very impressed because there were 50 or 60 young people there. And I thought, wow, there are people actually, because you look out there and as active as we are in Republican politics, it's mostly our age and older. I mean, when you see people under 50, you get excited. Woohoo, somebody's here, they're 40. So it's so exciting to see guys like you. What do we do to get the younger people out there? What can we do?
Talk to them. A lot of, it's hard to break through the generational barrier because, no offense, but a lot of the older generation are seen as our parents, and we don't, because biologically, evolutionarily, we have a natural instinct to rebel against our parents so that we don't stay in the nest forever. But it's important to talk to children, let them, and young people, and let them know that if they don't get involved, they're going to continue to get ransacked, their wallets are going to continue to be shaken out, and our generation is going to be robbed from until we wake up and get it together, which normally only happens until we're 60. So if we get awake before we're retired and realize we're getting robbed, we might have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's extraordinarily difficult because, I went to University of Richmond, and, everyone's just apathetic. Until it affects you personally, no one does anything. And you see this generation that just goes about their day-to-day life. They have no idea about Benghazi. They have no idea about Fast and Furious. I mean, any of this stuff. They have no idea. They literally have no idea what's going on. And so it is a huge amount of education we have to do. And once people realize what's going on, if we can get a few ambassadors here and there, it's all about touching different social circles. So if you can find one person in that friend group that, I've had a lot of impact. I mean, I have a friend that works in Dallas and a friend that works in, most of them are apathetic. They're like, oh, here Gray goes again. But I've started, with this book and everything, and started having an impact on them. And, one works at IBM, and, everyone has their own social circle. So we can just find a few people here and there that'll be ambassadors to their friend group. And it won't be you going in, but it'll be them going in because they know their friends better. That's where we can start making some inroads. And it just has to be done at, going out to dinner and on a daily basis, not necessarily at a formal meeting, because good luck trying to get people to come on Wednesday night to a Republican meeting. It's not going to happen.
Well, thank you. We have that challenge in our Republican Women's Club. I'm always trying to get the young gals to come out, but, it's money. We don't have money, the time, and we're still trying to do things like the 60s and 70-year-olds want to do. We don't have that. We need to reach out to social media and all stuff. I have to think that made a big impact too. You know how to use it in the 21st century.
Yes, we use social media to great effect during our race. And if you look at the way our race played out when we defeated Cantor, there was a abnormally large turnout from a demographic that normally does not turn out in congressional primaries, we brought a lot of working age, middle class voters out. Normally in a Republican primary, at least in Virginia, it skews much older demographically. But we had a lot of working class people who were just like, you know what? We're getting screwed by everybody. We're going to stick it to them as best we can. Normally I don't do anything. Whatever, I know I'm getting screwed, but I'm just going to stick a finger in their eye this time. And so bringing people out and talking to people who don't normally get involved with the processes, a lot of time it's the first time they feel like somebody's talking to them. When somebody who is seen or perceived as being in a position of political authority talks to them, it does mean a lot. So don't be afraid to have that first conversation.
And I think that's part of the Republicans, why we haven't been successful necessarily in the Hispanic community, Latino community, is because we just haven't reached out. And it's that simple. And if you don't try, then you're not going to have any success.
And you're going to see that in the presidential campaign, in the primary. A lot of people are switching over just to vote because this is so contested with Trump and Carson and Cruz and Rubio.
And you have to be a registered Republican to vote.
Right. And so you're going to see a lot of people voting that don't normally vote.
Really?
And it's going to be through all the states.
And real quick, I know
All
we
the
just have 1 minute.
primaries.
Tell us how to get your book and tell me who's going to win for president. Or who's your guy?
You get the book on Amazon, How to Bag a Rhino, or go to howtobagaRhino.com to get your personalized autographed copy for Christmas. And I think that Trump's going to win the nomination.
I'm cruising with Cruz. I think that he's the most stalwart conservative in the race, and with the best organization in place.
She didn't ask who you thought was going to win. She asked.
I think Cruz is going to win.
I think you want to win.
And I want Cruz to win. And I think he's going to win.
Okay. Fair
Okay.
enough.
I know it's a Cruz, and he thinks Trump's going to win.
What do you think?
And Cruz will be vice president.
Okay, are you guys going to hang around with us for Rosita's?
Yes, we can do that for a little
Awesome.
bit.
If you guys want to meet these guys, come to Rosita's.
We'll have books.
Harding University in Tempe.
And
And
no commercials.
be with us next week, Saturday, 6 p.m. here in Central City Radio for more of the Chips and Salsa Show with Alice Nada and George Ortiz. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for coming.
Gracias.
Thank you for having us.
I'm sorry we just kind of...
No, it's great. No,
Sorry we were late. We had a previous event.
And we